Hi, I'm with Bollywood actress Kalki Koechlin, who is in Sri Lanka for the third edition of the HSBC Ceylon Literary and Arts Festival. Welcome, Kalki.
Thank you.
How have you found Sri Lanka so far?
Great. I've been to Sri Lanka before on holiday. So it's nice to be here on work and lovely to spend the first day of the festival here.
Super. Okay. So, my first question, you've worked in film, theatre, and writing. Which of these feels most like home to you now?
I think theatre has always been home because it's been my foundation. I studied theatre and I've been, practicing theatre throughout my career. And I'm getting back to theatre after a long time actually, because I think raising a daughter, the first few years, it's quite hard to give the kind of time commitment that you need to give for theatre. Plus, when you're on the road and you're traveling with the shows. So I'm finally coming back to theatre and it definitely feels like home.
Good. So you spoke about your daughter, and also I read you had published a very interesting book called The Elephant in the Womb,
Yes.
which dealt with a plethora of subjects that affect ladies. Tell me why addressing mental health issues is so important.
I think, especially when it comes to motherhood, we don't really talk about the mental and emotional load that you carry along with the baby.
Yeah.
So I think that's definitely something I wanted to talk about in this experience of motherhood. And in general, mental health is as important as physical health. And prioritizing that, it's maintenance. You need to check in with your therapist every once in a while. You need to, check in with your anxieties. You need to give quiet time, especially in a world which is throwing things at us all the time.
True.
So absolutely, I think it's as important as your physical exercise.
Right. In your career, you've played so many strong and unconventional women. What draws you to those roles?
I think the strong and unconventional women of my life, starting with my mother and many women along the way, my teachers, my friends. I just think I've had luck to meet women who are quite independent and quite fiery and passionate, and of course, I'm lucky to have those roles coming my way also.
You speak several languages and you've worked in different languages. Does acting in another language change how you perform in any way?
Definitely. I mean, I'm not. It's funny because I'm not so comfortable in Tamil. It's not, I never learned it in school.
Right.
I learned it just at home with my nanny and, in my village and everything in Periyamudalli Chavadi. So I don't speak it very fluently, but I find I'm much more expressive in it because it's the childhood language.
Right.
So when you're a child, you don't have any filters and you
Absolutely.
speak very freely. So French and Tamil are actually very expressive for me. And English and Hindi were later learned. So although of course English is the language of my education and I feel comfortable and I do a lot of theatre in English, it's not, I sometimes do my lines in French or Tamil just as an exercise and then transpose it into English just to find the emotion. So I find it very useful actually.
And what, if any, of your roles has changed you? Has any role changed you in any way?
I think
your
all
outlook,
your
perhaps?
roles, all the roles have an effect on you. I think working on a film like Ye Jawani Hai Diwani, which was my first big Bollywood film, and doing this very over-the-top, out and loud character, wasn't something I was used to doing. And it gave me confidence to be able to be a bigger performer. At the same time, I've done a role like Margarita with a Straw, which required a very vigorous process, understanding the disability, cerebral palsy. And of course, my life has changed because I'm so involved with the organization ADAPT, all disabled, able people together. And it's part of my life. So yeah, I think you discover so much with each role that you do.
You've also written poetry. Can you elaborate a little bit more about that?
Yeah, for me, poetry started at a very young age. I remember my mother has kept some of these tiny poems about flowers and God knows, like 4 or 5 line poems. So it started at a young age, and I think it was my way of just expressing and journaling, and it has continued to be that for me. Spoken word, it's kind of developed now into this kind of spoken word, rhythmic pieces.
Right.
Even the piece I'm doing today called I'm Okay has a lot of rhythm to it. And it's not exactly poetry, but it definitely has a very performative element to it. So I do use my poetry, but I think ultimately it comes from a personal journaling place. I usually start by journaling something,
Right.
and then it turns into a piece of
And
poetry.
you're here at the HSBC Ceylon Literary and Arts Festival. What does it mean for you to be present here and to share your word with others?
It's an honor to be here. I know Meeta Kapoor from a long time. She has been a bit of a guide for me in terms of the literary world, which is new to me as a first-time writer. And I think it's great to be able to share my journey with so many people. I always enjoy speaking to women afterwards, because even women who are in their late 60s, and their children are raised and they're off, now they're grandparents, they still come and say, oh my God, you took me right back to that time when I first had my first baby. So it's really nice to kind of connect with that sisterhood.
Right. So talking about books, is there any book that had a profound effect on you?
I think many books have. I would say currently I'm reading a book called Night Pitch by Rachel Yoder, and it's all about postpartum and the psychic landscape of a mother, and it's really, really good. I've also read, classics like Edith Wharton's Age of Innocence, which I love, or Oscar Wilde, which I love, and I think I also like nonfiction. So recently I read a book called The Anxious Generation by Jonathan Haidt, which is all about the effects of social media on our young generation, on our teenagers.
Yeah.
It's very fascinating and useful when you have a child and you're thinking about her future. So yeah.
So what is the next chapter in your story?
The next chapter in my story.
And in your films and in
goodness.
your books?
Yes,
pipeline?
I have a couple of. So I have just been shooting a series for Amazon. I'm not sure if I can announce it yet, actually. But
Okay, so
I'm
we'll
doing
keep it
a series
under
for
wraps.
Amazon. I'm also what I can announce is I have a play based on this elephant in the womb. It's but we are extending it. We're making it with 6 women, and it's going to be about all kinds of different experiences of motherhood, of parenting, and all of this. So that is being produced by Adyam, which is a festival in India. They run by Mr. Birla, and they select certain plays. So we got selected, and we'll be opening that in June this year.
Okay, Kalki, thank you so much for your time, and I hope you have a good festival here.
Thank you so much.